Hi, I am Letiane Beninca, PhD and candidate and professor at IMED in Passo Fundo, Brazil. Now we are going to talk about urban impacts on the environment. Whatever we build or develop will cause some kind of impact. Some are beneficial and some are harmful. Cities present a lot of opportunities for human life, but also inflict a variety of harmful impacts in their process. This class learning objective is to make it possible for the student to recognize the urban environmental impacts and needs required to implement different aspects of smart sustainable cities. Now that you have already understood the concepts of sustainable development, ecology, and climate change present in the previous class, we will address how they relate to the urban environments. But before that, it is important to present the concept of environmental impacts. Miedzinski et al. Stated that environmental impacts are the changes in the environmental conditions that lead to impacts in social and economic functions on the environment, such as the provision of adequate conditions for health, resources availability, and biodiversity. Impacts often occur in a sequence. For example, carbon dioxide emissions cause air pollution, primary effect, which causes an increase in respiratory health problems, secondary effect, leading to a reduction in life expectancy or quality of life, tertiary effect. Another interesting concept is urban metabolism. This concept analyzes urban systems to living organisms and adopts the metabolic thinking of living organisms to urban operations because they consume resources for the environment and excrete waste. Thus, it is compelling to observe the city as a living organism that needs some inputs to survive, like water, food, energy, and goods, and also returns to the environment as output like waste, emissions, and solid wastes. Just to cite some of the main environmental impacts related to the urban environment, we can point out water, soil, noise, and air pollution. Climate change mainly relates to emissions for transport and factories. Human health problems such as cardiovascular and respiratory disease or even stress. Traffic jams, soil drainage and flooding problems due to lack of water permeability in urban areas as a result of built areas such as buildings, roads, and sidewalks. Management issues of solid urban waste due to increase of waste that in most cases are sent to areas far away from the city, where the waste is generated. And an overall decrease in quality of life of the population that live in the city, among many other impacts. Now that you are aware of some environment problems that are generating cities, we can start discussing what could be done to tackle these issues. Thus, thinking about the urban metabolism, the best thing is to reduce needed inputs and reduce negative output as far as possible. In order to accomplish that, some actions could be done to address some of the impacts mentioned as before, such as encourage transit-oriented development initiatives, tax emissions, create green zones, promotes recycling initiatives, provide proper sewage treatment, among many other actions that could foster a change in the urban sustainability. Other actions that could be done in urban environments are going to be addressed in the future class in this course. In our next class, we are going to study energy-related issues and solutions, talking about renewable energy and energy efficiency, among other themes. In our third class, we will talk about urban mobility and the concept of transit-oriented development. Afterwards, we will address the importance of basic sanitation in order to tackle urban environment impacts. And lastly, we will present some real cases of environment-friendly cities. It is important to highlight that each city is unique. You have to analyze your city and try to answer what are the main environmental issues of your city. What actions we are made by other role model cities? Which solutions are possible and viable to tackle the issues of your reality? Who are the main actors, stakeholders, in order to develop and implement changes? Now that you have understood the main urban environmental impacts and learned some actions to mitigate these impacts, you might want to post some good ideas or solutions on the discussion forum.